there is a growing cohort of people who are ditching their hard-won job after 3 months. You decided to quit.
When there's not like a clear path to growth and it doesn't look very easy or clear, then it's probably not a good fit.
Why are we seeing this steep plunge in growth opportunities?
This climbing the corporate ladder is no longer a status symbol. Organizations are going to pivot really quickly on why they should be the destination of choice for top talent and how they're developing talent.
The 90-day breakup. Hi, I'm Jill Wiltfong, Chief Marketing Officer for Korn Ferry, and this is Briefings, our deep dive into topics that corporate leaders need to care about. It's been a rough job market these past few years. Yes, there was a hiring bump earlier this year, but still, 1 in 4 unemployed people has been looking for a job for over half a year. And many who are employed are job hugging for dear livelihood, even if they deeply dislike their jobs. So it might surprise you to learn that in these tight times, there is a growing cohort of people who are ditching their hard-won jobs just after coming on board. That's right, last year, 15% of people who started a new role no longer had that job after 3 months. Pretty significant jump from 6% the year prior. It's a behavior that seemingly boggles the mind and could be a big problem for firms if it keeps up. So today we're going to talk to one of these job jumpers. We'll learn what's behind this growing trend and see if it can be reversed as we try to unpack the mystery of the 90-day breakup. Before we start, if you're watching us on YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to let us know your thoughts on this topic. I am joined now by Sasha Duku, a VP of Public Relations at Modop, a marketing agency. A few years back, she jumped ship from a job after only a few months, and, it wasn't a great job market then either. So she is here to spill the tea on what exactly happened. Sasha, it's really good to have you on with me today.
Thanks for having me, Jill.
So Sasha, give us a first-person perspective on this. You're at this new job for a few months, usually a time when people are getting to learn the ropes, form new connections, and it can actually be pretty exciting. But you decided to quit. What happened?
I know, crazy, right? I think when you've been in the job market for as long as I have, it's easy to tell when something is a fit and something isn't. And by week 1, I knew this wasn't a fit. By week 1, I was told that my VP, who I'd be working under, was quitting, and just that they had a bit of antiquated processes that I wasn't really a fan of.
Well, I think all of those make sense to me. You talk about this growth thing and kind of a lack of development. Was that a big reason why you left the job, or was it about those other things?
When there's not like a clear path to growth, and when I know like I'm looking at what's next for me, and as somebody who wants to grow in their career, and it doesn't look very easy, one, or clear, two, then it's probably not a good fit.
The company's consolidating divisions. Difficult decisions had to be made in areas where redundancies surfaced.
You're firing me?
That's a scene from the movie The Company Man, where Ben Affleck gets laid off from his firm. The other side of this rising rate in 90-day attrition includes those whom companies are deciding to let go. And Sasha, you've actually been on this side of things as well as a manager who's had to make the difficult decision to cut staff relatively soon after they joined. So you've seen this from both sides. What's been the reason behind those early cuts from your experience? What's typically behind that?
As an empathetic leader, you never want to let somebody go, right? Like we try everything we possibly can. We put folks on PIPs, just so we can ensure we're doing our due diligence to keep them as long as we can. And when folks are just faltering and it's just, you're getting kind of sloppy work, I think the unfortunate consequence is putting them on a PIP. And then after that PIP, if they haven't met the deliverables and the task assigned, then the unfortunate and the final consequence is to let them go.
Now, the good news is for employees that once they hit the 1-year mark at a company, turnover rates decline. They fell to 12.1% last year from 23.7% the year prior. So for people joining a new firm, in your experience, what's the best way to ensure that they make that critical 1-year milestone?
I think in our remote hybrid workforce, it's so hard to make connections. So just going the extra mile to like do one-on-ones with folks, like show your initiative, show your proactivity. I think that goes a really long way in just ensuring your longevity with a company.
Those relationships are super critical. I do want to end on the positive note that back when you left that job, after only a few months, you almost immediately had 3 new jobs, potential jobs lined up. We actually have done an episode on people who, like yourself, always seem to get hired. So leave us with your secret. What do you think you do differently than most folks who have trouble landing a job?
It's honestly no secret, Jill. No individual is looking at your resume. It's a computer system or like some software that's processing your resume and looking for keywords. So really, if I had to think of the secret, it's just ensuring you have all the right keywords in for the company and the job that you want to do. If you don't have AI in your resume right now, then that's probably an automatic cut. That's what HR folks and leaders want to see, that you're able to upskill and able to work in this new environment that we live in.
Sasha, thank you so much for joining me and for sharing your story.
It's been a pleasure, Jill. Thank you.
We've talked about the unorthodox practice of mostly young people bolting from their jobs in less than 3 months, but it turns out that's not the only thing millennials and Gen Z have started doing that is puzzling leaders. More on that in the second half, so stay with us.
Hi, and welcome to This Week in Leadership. I'm Rupak Bhattacharya, and here's a quick look at what else is happening in business.
A lot of leaders are older.
CEOs are getting older. Their average age in the US has risen to 61, up a decade since the turn of this century, as boards prioritize experience amid AI and geopolitical complexity. This means the Gen Z professionals could be getting the squeeze from both ends as they wait for boomers to retire and risk getting passed over by firms that want younger leaders.
Workplace bullying today.
Open offices may boost collaboration, but at a cost. Workers in these setups face a 67% higher risk of bullying, with nearly 13% reporting incidents. We're talking about issues like not being invited to group lunches or, quote, accidentally being left out of meetings. Psychology pros say the fix is not to abandon openness, but balance it with private, task-designed spaces.
So I lost my passion for my own work.
The purpose-driven workforce may be fading. With job openings down 25% from the pandemic peak, HR leaders have grown increasingly concerned about hiring more candidates driven by necessity, not mission. Experts say the onus is now on leaders not to assume culture fit, but to build it with employees over time. For more insights from This Week in Leadership, head to kornferry.com/insights. Now back to Jill and our episode, The 90-Day Breakup.
I've been telling myself for a few months now that maybe I need to be cut, maybe I need to be fired in order for me to do something that I really want to do finally.
We're back. In the first half of this episode, we talked about the growing trend of the 90-day breakup. And now we move to another phenomenon facing younger workers, which is the millennial midlife crisis, where some, get this, 59% of millennials secretly hope to be laid off. It's incredible. I'm joined by Kim Waller, a Korn Ferry senior client partner in its organization strategy practice. She has helped many company leaders build a workforce to avoid this very issue. Kim, it is great to have you on.
Thanks, Jill. Great to be here.
So that last clip we just played featured YouTuber developer Ezra talking about his secret desire to be laid off, which reflects this broader trend among millennials, with many citing limited growth opportunities as really a key concern for them. What's interesting is that in 2020, 42% said they had opportunities at work to learn and grow. Here we are now 5 years later, 2025, it went from 42% to only 31%. Our first guest actually left a job after only a few months because of this. So Kim, what is happening? Why are we seeing this steep plunge in growth opportunities at companies everywhere?
Given the volatility in the market, organizations, while they may desire to focus on learning and development, They are focusing on the lowest common denominator, what I oftentimes will say, keeping the lights on and keeping the business running, and have put themselves in a position of saying, well, the talent development is important, but it's not mission critical for right now.
Not a priority right now, but certainly a problem. Currently, one survey says less than a third of millennials are engaged at work, which is a really low number. And you've said that your son, who actually works for a big tech company, loves it so much. So he's the opposite, right? He loves it so much that he can't wait to visit the firm's local offices, even when he's traveling with you on vacation, which is a dream as an employer. So what is it that your son's company is doing right that so many seem to be missing? Is there something we can learn from that?
We say that you need to come into the office because that's where innovation and really innovative thinking is happening. But is it? And so unless an organization is really fostering a culture where that kind of thing is encouraged in multiple different ways, then it becomes performative. It becomes something that you put on a placard on the wall or on your website, but it's not the lived experiences of employees.
Here's how the stairs go. You show up in college, and you're supposed to know what you want to major in. That major is supposed to lead you to your first job. And then you get another job, and you get promoted and promoted and promoted forever. But the truth is that the stairs are an illusion. These days, excellent careers are not built by excellent stair climbers.
That's company and community builder Molly Graham speaking out against the corporate ladder, or stairs, as she calls it. And workers seem to agree. One new survey our This Week in Leadership team reported on found that only 4 in 10 workers want to follow any traditional career path. And 72%, almost 3/4 of them, say climbing the corporate ladder is, quote, outdated. Kim, you've said that some of the issue behind this is that the goals of most workers and leaders today are really vastly different. You've talked about how you don't think leaders who came up at companies climbing those traditional ladders are getting the message about how much the talent world has changed. Can you talk about that a little bit for us?
Recently, I spoke with someone that is in that Millennial group, and she said to me, which jarred me a little bit, she said, this climbing the corporate ladder is no longer a status symbol. Now, if your employer is expansive enough that they provide a platform for your multiple identities, if you will, to be manifested and you contributing your talents, then sure. But I am accounting level number 1 and I'm going to wait and just grind it out until I get to be a lead accountant at a firm. It's not a status symbol anymore.
We, of course, can't leave or shouldn't leave AI out of this chat. Companies have spent hundreds of billions on AI over the past few years as the fervor over its potential continues to rise. But you say over-indexing on AI might actually be leading to some of this millennial malaise. How is that?
I think the over-indexing on AI at the expense of investing in real development and talent development is the mistake. This notion that we're going to focus on AI, we're going to put to the side the development of our people that we have right now, I think it's short term.
Leave us with a prediction here. Based on what you're seeing on the ground at companies, will firms be able to course correct on this corporate ladder misalignment, or AI leading to discouragement anytime soon? Or are we going to see engagement numbers continue to plummet at firms? Where are you on that?
I think engagement numbers are going to continue to plummet. And as soon as that inflection point relative to supply and demand shifts, organizations are going to pivot really quickly and begin to double down on why they should be the destination of choice for top talent and how they're developing talent. I think there are other organizations that are going to do it consistently, and it's the organizations that we all probably could name. They have not departed from it, but I think there's a large number of organizations that will then start to scurry again.
Kim, thanks for bringing your always brilliant candor and insight to this conversation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jill. It was a pleasure.
The executive producer of Briefings is Jonathan Dahl. Today's episode was produced by Rupak Bhattacharya and Zachary Dorr, and it was edited by Jaron Henry McRae. It contains reporting by Russell Perlman, Ariane Cohen, and Peter Loria. Our video segment contains original artwork by Fraser Milton, Haley Kennel, Jonathan Pink, and Sasha Kotschik. And our web operations are managed by Ed McLaurin. Don't forget to read our magazine, available at newsstands and at kornferry.com/briefings. That's it for Korn Ferry Briefings. I'm Jill Wiltfong. See you next time. I'm Jill Wiltfong, Chief Marketing. I'm the marketing officer. Oh, please. I don't know where that accent came from.